Hey guys, my name is Gus Gonzalez and I am the host of the CRM MVP podcast, a show I started back in 2017. And over that period of time, it's almost 2 years now when I'm recording this video, I've been able to interview a lot of really smart people as part of my show. Some of the episodes that I record are individual, it's just me talking into a microphone, but I do enjoy interviewing other people a lot. I'm fortunate enough to be able to go to industry conferences where there's a lot of experts and I'm able to, essentially find a quiet room and, have a one-on-one interview. And sometimes it's more than one person. I've had up to 5 or 6 people on the show at once. And one of the things that I've always been sort of obsessed with is the sound quality. Podcasting is an interesting medium because people cannot see you, right? It's audio only. So because of that, I'm always disappointed where I'm really looking forward to a show or really looking forward to listening to a particular episode that has really, really poor audio. The same is true for video actually. So, I can watch a video that has, poor quality video. It doesn't have to be 4K or 1080 or anything like that, as long as it has good audio. But you can watch a, 8K video that if it has really, really poor audio, you will just turn it off. If the audio is all chopped off or if it sounds horrible, you just have to quit watching it. You have to essentially stop. So because of it, I've been super, super obsessed with sound quality. So for 2019, as we start ramping up in the year and start, recording some really interesting interviews going forward with multiple people, I decided to put together what in my opinion is the best podcasting equipment to travel with, especially when you are interviewing other people as part of your show. Now for me, I had a few conditions on what I consider to be the best podcasting equipment. Now obviously, it needs to be able to travel with me. I didn't want to have multiple bags and multiple things to check in. I felt that landing on one bag that I have to check in would be enough because most of the time I take a carry-on for me on travel. So if I have to check one in, it would be the podcasting equipment. So obviously the case had to be strong enough to sort of endure the abuse that airline employees and even myself provide on the actual equipment. So I decided to get a hard case like this and pack up all of the equipment I needed to record sharp episodes for the CRM MVP podcast or any other media I happen to be working on at any given time. So again, following those conditions, I wanted to put together the best possible kit money can buy. Now I realize that if you're traveling as a podcaster and you're mainly recording yourself, or maybe you're gonna have only one guest, you're not going to be putting together the kind of kit that I have. And I also realized that, before you start adding all these comments below, I also realized that you can buy better stuff. You can buy better mics. You can buy better equipment, better tripods, or whatever it is. I realized that 100%. However, for me, what I wanted to do is, what is the best possible equipment I can buy to get perfect sound, to get the best sound as possible, without having to spend, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, buying $10,000 microphones or whatever it is. I don't need it to be recording studio quality, although it kind of is recording studio quality when I record with this stuff, but I didn't also want it to be microphones or equipment that was not going to provide super crisp audio. So what I want to do is walk you through my kit. Hopefully you get some ideas on how to set it up. I've never really seen a kit like this set up. It was sort of an idea I had, and it sort of took about a year in the making, sort of buying and testing equipment until I found exactly what worked for me best. And I've conducted, 20 different interviews where I've had multiple people. There was an episode I did with 10 guests last year around March or something like that. I had 10 people on the podcast at once, and it was kind of interesting to see how you can, have a large group of people and interview them all at once when you have limited resources, the way it was, about a year ago. So let me turn the camera around and show you what my kit is all about. So as I mentioned before, this kit is in a hard case that I bought specifically for this purpose. Now the interesting thing about this hard case is that it came with foam inside that you're able to customize to, whatever you need. So in my case, obviously will be podcasting equipment, but let's take a look at what's inside. So I'm just going to open this. Now these latches come with, as you can see, holes for locks, and I do have locks for them with combination. They're TSA friendly locks, of course, so they can review it and open it to see the contents if they need to be. So let's open it up and take a look. There it is. Let me lay this down. So that is what the kit looks like. Let's see if I can get a shot from above. So let's go over the equipment just so you have an idea of what you're looking at. So let's start right here on this side. So because you can have, let's start by the main component. And really, if there's one component that is, essentially the most important piece of this whole kit is the recorder. So this is the Zoom H6. That's what I use to record almost every single podcast, unless I am recording, by myself, in which I have a different setup for that. And I use actually Audition or Adobe Audition to record, or in this case, sometimes I connect my Zoom H6, especially if I have guests here in my studio. So I use the Zoom H6 to record everything. If you're unfamiliar with the Zoom H6, you can pretty much have 4 different microphones connected on the sides and then one on the top. The microphone that goes on the top is this guy right here. So this microphone head goes on top of it, and that's the one that I use to record my own voice while I provide microphones to all the different guests on the show. So one of the things I wanted to do is to be able to provide guests with their own headphones, because obviously while I can hear everything that's happening, the guests are also essentially wanting to hear their voice and wanting to hear what everybody's talking about. Sometimes you can be sitting far from each other. So I have 5 of these Sennheisers. And by the way, one of the things that you'll notice is that I'm a really big fan of Sennheiser. I think they do a great job putting these together, and they have great products. So a lot of my kit is all Sennheiser stuff. So I bought these headphones. Again, there's 5 of them. I used to have 2 or 3 of these here at the studio when I had some guests coming, but I have 5 of them. Now notice that 4 of these are together. These are for the guests that are going to be hooked up into the 4 entries on the microphones. And the reason why they're a little separate is because the jack that I actually use, that are used on these, are not the 3.5 millimeters. They are the bigger ones, right? And those ones go inside this little device right here, which is essentially a multiplier. Let me see if I can get that in focus, for headphones. So what happens here is that the line coming from the H6 goes into this input, and then I can connect 4 different headphones into these, which are the headphones for the guests. Now, the best thing about this is that every single microphone comes with its own volume level. So depending on the guest that you have, they can add more volume or take volume away, whatever they need, and have the audio crisp coming to them. The microphones used by the guests are the Sennheiser's MD46. These microphones were created for reporters covering the Sydney Olympics, for interviews and things like that. The audio on these things is unbelievable. Super, super crisp and clear. So I have 4 of those microphones for the guests. As I mentioned, I use the Zoom H6, stereo head, so I record on that. Then every one of the guests gets a tripod. So I bought these small tripods that hold the microphones, all of them with a Sennheiser holder for the microphones. So 4 of those, 4 microphones, 4 headphones, and then 1 headphone for the presenter. This one has a normal 3.5 millimeter jack on it, because that one goes straight into the Zoom H6. So I actually have a splitter that divides the signal to my headphone and then going back to this device, so everyone is able to hear each other on the headphones. Then right here on the left, I actually caught a hole, a deep hole into this guy, and that's where I have all my XLR cables plus a tripod for the Zoom H6. So my Zoom H6 sits on this Manfrotto tripod because it's pretty sturdy, and I can also hold it if I need to. If I don't have space on the table, I'm actually able to hold it like a microphone and able to talk into it. So that is where the Manfrotto fits. So all of the wires, by the way, this is not an XLR cable. This is the charging cable for the Zoom H6. It's super long. I think it's 15 feet, and that's because sometimes I do interviews and I'm pretty far away from the table. So instead of having an extension cord, because really the only thing you're plugging in is that guy right here, and well, you also plug in this guy. What I do is I have a super long cable for this guy, so I'm able to plug it in and be super far away, at least for me. The headphones for the guests can be plugged in closer to the wall, but sometimes I have to sit far away with my Zoom Zigs and I'm able to connect. So this wire is the same length as every XLR cable, and I try to get every XLR cable differently. So you see this one is yellow, and then we have a red braided one, a black one, and then a red solid one. So every microphone is identified with a number. I'm always able to plug the same colors on the same numbers, so that way I know where the track is coming from when I have a speaker talking. Everything goes in there. So essentially, again, this case comes with a lot of different squares. So I worked my way in organizing all the different things that I wanted to have, and I was able to sort of cut all the different squares specific to the size of what I needed, and they all look pretty awesome when the whole kit is put together. The last thing I added was really up here, kind of hidden. I have some stickers for the show, so I'm always able to pull something and provide it to the guests, whether they want to put their stickers on their laptop or whatever it is. So I was able to hide those stickers right there on the edge of the case. But I just wanted to show you essentially what my kit looks like. Maybe it gives you some inspiration on what to put together. Obviously this kit is not cheap. You're not going to be able to put it together for a couple $100. That's what each one of these microphones cost. But if you're obsessed with sound quality the way I am, I rather invest on a really good kit that will sound awesome and that people will be able to tune in and not even think about the sound quality being an issue. I'd rather focus on content and not on having to edit a bunch of stuff just because I don't have the right equipment. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one.